All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us today in our free training. We're going to do a quick little overview of Saint, and then we're going to do a quick training on pen testing and phishing and talk about some of our integrated solutions. This is a live interactive session, so if you do have questions, please feel free to put them in the chat and we will address them at the end. I'm going to turn this over to Diane Riley, our COO, to give us just her perspective on threats and cyber overview right now. And then David Guthay, our head of operations, is going to dive into our demo. So without further ado, Diane.
Thanks, Sharon. Welcome, everyone. And again, thank you for joining us. For those of you who don't know me, as Sharon mentioned, I am Diane Riley, the COO here at Carson and Saint. So in addition to overseeing the company operations, I'm also heavily involved in overseeing the security services within the company. And so Sharon had asked if I could talk for a few minutes, bringing you my unique viewpoint as to why security scanning solution such as Saint can provide you with the insights you need to zero in, define what matters, and control what counts, not just from a security perspective, but compliance too. So I promise in a few minutes, David's going to show you how you can further maximize the value of our Saint vulnerability management solution for your business by leveraging our penetration testing and phishing capability that's already integrated in our tool. For the last 20 years, I have been in the trenches, helping our customers in the public and private sectors build solid security programs from the ground up. This is including policies, process, procedures, developing a risk management program to integrating security technologies like Saint and other security tools while meeting these compliance requirements. So I have firsthand experience in seeing how our tool in action, not just from a demo perspective that you'll see here today, but how it has helped organizations and companies such as yours have insight to potential risk exposure so you can be more proactive than reactive, thus reducing your overall risk over time. Let me just give you a quick example. For a very large health organization using Saint, we were able to reduce their risk by 80% in 1 year by using our technology coupled with our security services. So, but we also understand that we can also agree too that the threat landscape is dynamically changing on a daily basis, and emerging threats are more complex and sophisticated. So we can also agree, I hope, that security doesn't equal compliance, but you need both. It's our mission to help protect companies such as yours and to minimize the impact in the event of a breach. But we also understand today that there is a new norm. A majority of the workforce is now working remotely. Spear phishing and other phishing campaigns are on the rise. Ransomware is on the rise, and companies are trying to figure out how to do more with less. We also see where the emphasis has been placed primarily on external scanning in the past, but now there's been a shift for increased internal scanning due to the shift to the remote workforce and introduction of new vulnerabilities. Internal threat is still larger than the external threats. So how do you start? And for me, I would have to impress upon everyone that having a solid vulnerability management program is key. It is the foundation and the cornerstone to an overarching program. You cannot protect something if you don't know what you have. It is essential to combating today's threats and reducing the overall risk exposure. So using a scanning technology such as Saint, it can help you discover what you have on your network, identify those vulnerabilities, and give you that insight to your risk exposure, not just from an infrastructure viewpoint, but to your overall business. And what do I mean by your overall business? I mean that it allows you to identify those critical assets or your crown jewels, if you will, that are important to your business and tag them. Now that's assuming you've done a risk management plan where you have gone out and you looked at all your business functions and identified which ones are critical to your overall mission as an organization and identify those assets associated to them. If you have not done that, I encourage you greatly to do that. And you can utilize Saint to be able to tag those assets. So in the event a vulnerability does exist, it will give you that insight so you can quickly prioritize those remediation efforts. We all understand today we have limited resources. Not everyone has a large security team. Most often organizations I'm seeing have one or two, some have big teams, some are outsourcing. But if you are responsible for having to remediate those vulnerabilities found, this will help you. Saint can help you prioritize and look at those critical assets first and be able to address those vulnerabilities. So therefore, you can reduce that risk exposure fairly quickly. And it allows you to focus your resources where that could actually have the most impact. Saint will also help you in patch management. We know patching is a problem across the enterprise and across the world, in my opinion. It is still one of the biggest culprits next to the human error as to why companies are being breached. So for instance, let me give you an example. Microsoft Tuesday comes out every month. Saint, within 24 hours, will actually go in and update our technology, our software, to ensure that those vulnerabilities identification will be able already be in the software, so that when you go to scan, you can quickly identify which of those vulnerabilities are still existing across your assets and help you understand so you can patch them quickly. If you are not scanning monthly, I highly encourage you to do that. It is a security best practice. Some do quarterly. I recommend monthly. In addition to that, the patch management, obviously, when you use a scanning technology like Saint, you're going to identify which of those assets need patches because the patches are software is out of date. So you will need, it will help you manage those, prioritize and manage those remediation efforts through our ticketing system. You can utilize another ticketing system. But as I mentioned a minute ago, it will truly help you focus and streamline the resources needed to be able to get those vulnerabilities remediated. It also is going to identify those assets that have vulnerabilities that are exploitable. And why is that key? It's key because this is potentially how a hacker can actually exploit the vulnerability and gain control of your system. This is one of the great features that we utilize when we are working with our customers, not only to show them where the vulnerabilities are, which ones are potentially exploitable, so we can quickly focus on those as well to remediate them so we reduce that risk exposure too. It also gives you the ability to find weak links in your workforce. And what do I mean by that? Because we have a phishing capability built in to our technology, you can actually conduct phishing exercises and be able to test the workforce and seeing if in fact anyone's clicking on something that they shouldn't be. We know these emails are looking really authentic, and you really have to pay close attention to them these days. And I will tell you that the importance here is just so that, just so that the people have an understanding. So it will help you pinpoint specifically which individuals within your organization that may need additional training, or maybe you need to enhance your security awareness training. So all of these things are all part of what I call the vulnerability management program. I know security awareness training kind of sits out of it, but this technology will help you understand those that your people could be vulnerable to your organization in overall protection of it to reduce that risk. So in addition to Saint, Saint will give you the analysis and the reporting capabilities too. It's very robust. And also it will help you meet your compliance standards. As I said earlier, compliance does not equal security. They're not, but you need both. So we have a lot of scanning policies, compliance scanning policies, such as PCI and HIPAA and Sarbanes-Oxley and so many more, to help you meet your compliance standards as well. So I just wanted to kind of give you an insight, the importance of having a scanning solution. I have been with companies who don't have anything yet, which is kind of surprising today, but they don't have anything, or they're only looking at external. But don't forget about the internal threat, especially now with everyone working from home and you don't know about what other vulnerabilities are being introduced. And so I just wanted to come on for a few minutes to talk about that and how the importance of when these vulnerabilities are identified, how David's going to show you now how you as an organization, or if you're a consultant on listening in today, can actually help and identify those and just test to see if in fact it's a false positive, or actually if it's truly, exploitable in the sense that your organization is truly vulnerable and you need to help remediate that. So David, I am going to go ahead and turn this over to you because I want to make sure that everyone has time to see all the goodness that you're going to show them with the penetration testing and the phishing capability of Saint.
Well, thank you, Diane. This is Dave Guthay. I've been with Saint over 10 years now. I'm Director of Operations, and I've been doing the training for a long time. So today we're going to take a look at the Saint penetration testing function and getting reports out from that, as well as looking at our demo on our phishing tool. So to start off with, Saint's primarily a vulnerability scanner where we audit your network. Another feature of ours is our benchmark scanning, where we are looking at your configuration profile on your servers. And then a third way that we scan is our automated penetration test. So just to start off with our vulnerability scan, we have the ability to take a look at what vulnerabilities you have, but also we can match those with exploits from 4 different vendors. Not only say an exploit, but we partner with Core Impact to bring in the fact that there's an exploit available for the vulnerabilities that we find. And we do mention that in our, when you look at all the information that we brought back from that vulnerability scan, you'll see an exploit field here, and it'll tell you that we have that there's an exploit available for from Core Impact, but also the exploit database,
David,
and that's hyperlinked out.
David, we can't see your screen. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Thank you for
No problem. It happens. Sorry, everybody.
I'm sorry. I was so I'm going to stop sharing with the other one and show my screen. Thank you so much for letting me know that. So let me go back and start again. So here's our scanning page, and you can see that I have the scan policies that are listed over here for a full penetration, a root penetration, also our vulnerability scans. So taking a look at that vulnerability scan, I can go out and add a column here, because we have not only here's the columns that we have, but here's the columns that you can select. As always, there's more configuration under the hood that you can do with Saint to configure it, not only to scan the way that you like, but to see your results in the way that you like. So I've added the our exploit piece over here column and click OK. And now you can see what exploits are available with those vulnerabilities. And when I bring this up, I see that we have an exploit for this particular vulnerability from Core Impact, and also from the exploit database. And we also have some from Metasploit, and there's also ones from Saint. So you can through this interface here, if we click on Saint Exploit, it brings up our password weakness. And then we can run that directly from here. And I'm just going to give it my first test. And then I can put in the target to verify that I'm allowed to use this in from my license. And click run, and that's how easy it is to run an exploit directly from Saint. And it says exploit successful. So it gives me that right there. I can run it directly from the analyze page on a scan job. And then we also have our full pen test. And so the scan policies that I used for that we'll go in and open this up. So it starts off with our pen test policy. Well, you can also choose we also have our vulnerability, compliance scans, host-based assessment, and our benchmark scanning. So this, again, is our third way of scanning. And we start off with our discovery scan just to see if any targets are alive in that target range. Then we have our information gathering so that we can see do a little reconnaissance to see what targets are out there and if they're in the scope of the penetration test that we are allowed to have. And so then we can go on to our single penetration, and what that does is looks for runs our exploits against that target until we get a user shell on there. And if we're doing a root penetration, it's going to look for that either a root shell or an administrative share or a shell that we can use. And stop that test. And then we have our full penetration where we're running all available exploits against those targets, which I've shown for this. And then we select our targets, and I have advanced options that I might want to use, and then I can click finish immediately, and then it will scan that target. And I've done one test for here, and then I can take a look and see what vulnerabilities, what exploits were run against those targets.
Hey, David, can you make it full screen real quick?
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I just thought that might help.
Okay, how's that look? So now we see that we have a Windows password weakness, but we didn't have access for for some of the other vulnerability or for exploits that we're running against. So this is I do want to say that a manual pen test is the best way to look at the security of your network, but an automated pen test through Saint will help you also give you a snapshot in time of what that pen test looks like. And then we can take a look at our reporting for that. So I can go out to, once I've loaded this, I can go to my exploit report types. And then we have our different actions for that, for exploit, a full scan, but also compliance for FSMA, HIPAA, and NERC CIP, and then specialized one for phishing information and web crawling. So now taking a look at our at the HIPAA vulnerabilities assessment, tells us the unsuccessful exploits, which is hopefully that's what you'll find on your network, and the amount of exploits that were run on this. And then we tell you the servers that we are trying to break into. Then we also have one for the FSMA vulnerabilities. And then it gives us an introduction up here on what this is covering. So with that, so we could go on from here to take a quick look at our once that your network has been scanned for exploits, we can move on to looking at our phishing report, or our I'm sorry, um, using our phishing tools. So we also have single exploits that you can run either on a client side, either remote exploits that you can run directly from here. So, and we'll give you the tutorial that goes with it for the date that this was announced, what platform it works on, what the background is, what the problem is, and then also what limitations. So when you're running your exploits, you need to take a look at the limitations to find out what exactly it runs on for a more successful exploit. And then not only that, do we have remote exploits, but we do have local exploits that we can run. Also client exploits where we're running, so this that we can run across against your servers. And then, so if we have a WordPad handler execution, maybe if we run that, that will be a remote exploit or for clients. And then we have our tools. So our tools can come in very handy for including our our phishing tool as well as our click logger. And then we also have one for finding your address, finding your, sorry, finding your password in a browser find phishing tool. So that's kind of a neat phishing attack. So what we do with that is we start off with our phishing with our job, and then we have you can give it a name and then also go into the port and specify a particular port that you want this to run on. 89, and then you can use a target from your license to verify it. So then we go out to our phishing, our exploit servers. And that we have the ability to send a text message to a cell number to see if someone has posted all your passwords here, and then they'll click on that. But also we can do send it out in an email. This is where we can do our social engineering for doing your emails to see if someone will click on something. And then you can put your email address in here. And then we have our different subjects down here. So what I like to do is send out a free lunch email about 10:30 or 11 o'clock in the morning to see who will click on different things. And one of our message templates is KFC. So it's kind of hard to resist at 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning when you're starting to get hungry. So when we, And then we also have different ones, say password verification. And we have a password integrity template here that I can use. And when I look at that, I'll see that it comes up with our company memorandum. So what I want to do is to edit that, and we go into our message content here for our company memorandum, and I can change that over to Saint. And now when I preview it, it comes up as our Saint memorandum. So when I click on to verify my password, I'll go out and it comes up with a list here. And what I want to do is search for my password. Or you'll find that, so it shows up. And shows up every time. So what happens is we collect those passwords in the back end, and then we can offer those in a report. Another type of tool that we have is our click logger tool. I'm sorry. Another one that we have is our, yes, the click logger tool. And what that does is this runs an exploit server, and it just returns a 404 error page, so we can verify who visited it. And so we click run, and we want again put that on a port that we have access to, and a target here. And that sets up my click logger tool. And then when I click on to go to set up on a small Perl web server, and again, if I click on that, I can preview that, and then I'll open up my error page. And it says 404 not found, but that's coming from my server that I'm running here. So the next one that we're looking for is the real phishing tool. And what this will do is give the users a chance to pick up their emails, or to log in and enter a username and password. And I can use a real site URL if I have, say, from the Saint Suite, if you can drop that in there, or you can actually build one yourself. So I can go out to create one for my Carson logo. And then I have page title for my login portal. And then I have an introductory test that I've created, and then I can put in my input fields and then give that an acknowledgement text. So what I've done beforehand is I created a page from here, just basic HTML, and I can drop that in to my acknowledgement text. And again, I put in my target. I click run. So now it's building that target in the back end. And now I can go to my exploit servers. And all I need to do Now again, I build my email here. And my from email address, I can drop in my email here and include those subjects. So I have my password verification and my message template. Um, I can use also, if I showed you the password integrity, but we also have a LinkedIn one that you can modify for that. Or I can go out and we do have a custom email that you can send out and customize this page. So right now, what I want to do is build this page, and I can add an image here by going out to browse out to a new image. And I can bring in that Carson logo, upload that, and you'll see that it's right here, and I can just click on that, and copy that so I can build this page here with this information. And I can go back to my page here that that's been set up. And then I can bring in that logo again. Okay, and then I can preview this to see what it looks like. And then people can then click here for the to verify that new site. And remember, when you send out your email, you have to work with the client to get through all the spam filters and proof point and what they've set up for the client to get into that local network. And then I can click submit. And then what this is this is the landing page that I set up so that you have this can also link to your Secure the Human site or whatever phishing training that you have set up for your characters or for your users, I'm sorry. And then I can go back here, and when I I can see during that time, I can look, I can check the logs to see who's clicked on this. And when I stop it, I can download that output file. And that tells me this user clicked on it. And then what I want to do is go back to my exploit reports. And I can select a data set. And now what I want to do is go down to the specialized and click on the phishing info. And then when I click finish, this will draw that report. So one failed. I have an unknown user because I did not send the email out, but it collected the information for this. So that is, so I have a question here from Scott for the phishing. What whitelisting is required for the service to be successful? For this to work, I had to go through for a test, not only a proof point, but our spam filter that we use internally. And since this is coming from AWS, I needed to allow that in the security groups. And you can lock it down to the IPs that should have access to that.
Okay. Mike had another
Okay.
question. If you can explain the difference between applications of each of these. Do you need a little bit more from him for clarity?
Sure. I can go for the applications for the tools themselves are more with our exploit tools. So the phishing attack itself is going to have that sensitive information. If someone actually enters their information with a username and password, that could be very sensitive. Therefore, we have the click logger tool that allows you just to grab the fact that the person at that email address for that date, time, and IP clicked on something. So that would be much more a less sensitive report to put out. Okay, any more questions?
So there's a little bit more to there. There was a panel before this where you showed 4 choices. Unfortunately, I can't recall what panel it was before
Okay.
exploits.
Not sure which 4 choices that would be. That could have been the our exploit servers that are running. And then also from that automated pen test that I ran, I also have a connections page here. And these are the connections that were grabbed after the automated pen test. And once we have those, now we can really, we do have a shell on there. So this will give us the details on what information and how it was created. So once I have that information, I can go to, say, the C drive, and we use the name, what if there's a tunnel set, and I can actually go in and with the file manager, now I have complete access to that server. So with that access, I can upload files to, say, to that server, that if I browse out, and I can pick up a destination name and upload that file to the server. Maybe I want to go in the documents and settings, and in the start menu, I could put in an exploit file that I've designed. So just an added piece to our exploit piece.
Okay. We had another question come in. Can you briefly highlight St. Cloud? Give a little bit of a touch on what St. Cloud is and a quick overview of St. Cloud.
Certainly. So this is coming. So St. Cloud is the same software that we have the same type of software. Looks just like this, and we have it just hosted on our servers for you to access, so that you can do your external scanning from from our uh, from our cloud servers. It's the same. It's another. We also have the same GUI not only with our cloud service but with the standalone product that where you keep all the service, keep all your information internally. So that would be this is our SaaS model for this. Okay, is there any other questions?
While we wait for some other questions to come in, I do want to let everybody know that this is recorded and you will receive the link to the recording once the training is over and we get it uploaded for you. I have another question. Hold on one moment, David. Can you touch a little bit on how it's different with our AWS service?
It's more so we do in our AWS marketplace offerings. So the way that we have it set up for AWS is our offerings are Saint with a license, where that gets billed back to you on your AWS account. We also have the bring your own license, BYOL, where you host that. You can spin up that Saint instance for the duration of that you need for that scan, collect that information, and then you can turn it off with your license. We also have a with license on Red Hat to be in compliance for our FedRAMP initiative. And then we also have a pre-auth node that so you can connect and do distributed scanning with a manager that you host, maybe with your BYOL, and then connect several nodes to it in different VPCs to connect back to here. Okay, and this is different from our. It's the same. It's a SaaS model, but instead of hosting it on our servers, we're hosting it through AWS, and you're billed through AWS. So, okay. Any other questions? And it would have the same same type of interface that we have here. And you can see up here that I'm hosting this right now through AWS. Great way to train.
All right, well, that looks like that's about all of our questions. So thank you everybody for joining us. We are really glad that you were able to come learn a little bit more about some of our features with Saint. Please feel free to reach out with any questions that you have. You can reach us at b.secure@carson-saint.com. You can find us on our website by submitting a support ticket with any questions. And we'll also be following this up with an email. So again, you'll have the copy of the recording. So thank you again so much, everybody. And let us know if there's anything else we can help assist you with.
Take care now. Thank you for your time today.
Have a great day.